Aloha, Lauren. I do think I hurt my back just a little bit today.
Dude, this story was bigger than I thought it was, Lauren.
I don't know which one it is.
She knows. I'm going to need your help too, like pronouncing some of the locations. I mean, I could have looked them up, like how to pronounce them. I did quite a bit of research on this for it being, just like I wasn't going to try to make this like a big case, but it was a lot bigger than I thought it was. Still, it's a really interesting case. There are some recent developments in the case, which is why Lauren posted it.
All right.
We're going to Kapoho. I hope I said that right. This is in Hawaii. So this is Hawaii right here. Mm-hmm. And
so is this
Hawaii's in America?
Are we going to the Big Island then?
I also just want to share, I thought of you guys when I was in Kansas City a few weeks ago.
Ew, gross.
Because they were announcing the different states, and like everyone that was from that state, got up and cheered when they called the state's name.
Mm-hmm.
And they said Hawaii as Hawaii, and I was like, oh yeah.
Oh,
that's how you say it.
So they said it wrong. All right, I'll go to the real location here in a little bit, but Christmas Eve 1991, we're actually crossing two counties, but Wawa, W-A-A-W-A-A, is technically where this is.
Okay.
Now there's going to be
different from the gas station Wawa.
Yes.
Not
that Wawa.
How do you spell that one?
W-A-W-A.
Oh. So I don't know about now, how it is now, but this was in 1991. And if you get in an accident in Wawa, good luck getting medical attention because there's not electricity out there. There's no electricity. There's no phone communication out there.
Oh, okay.
And honestly, you saw the Google Earth.
I mean, well, okay. So this is 1991, so cell phones are not a thing.
Yeah, but you know what is a thing maybe? Car phones. My mom used to have a car phone.
In 1991, though?
Around that time.
Yeah.
Wawa. It's called, Lauren says it's pronounced Wawa.
All right, so I'm going to sound smart. Tonight we're going to Wahawa. And no, Jen, it's not pronounced Wawa like the gas station. It's Wahawa. Jesus Christ, read a book.
I'll give you a book.
All right, Wahawa. That was close.
Not bad. I mean, it was not your worst pronunciation.
Anyway, tonight we're starting with a woman, Anne Cheryl. And this night, this is right before Christmas Eve. It's around 4:00 p.m. This night is a little blurry for her, okay? A little blurry. She's had a few margaritas, all right? She lives there on the island, and she's got a nice place. She just wanted to get some margaritas on Christmas Eve. Nothing wrong with that. So she was a familiar face in a local Mexican restaurant in Paoa. Paoa borders Wahawa. So we're actually going to both counties. This crime tonight crosses both lines.
Okay.
Anna's a local resident. She was celebrating holidays alone, but she was also in good company of friends because everyone at the restaurant knew her. Like our friend Lauren said, this is a small community, very small. Even today, we saw the Google Earth. You have one road, government road, and it doesn't even have Google Earth that goes through half of it. Google Maps doesn't even go through half of it, right?
Oh, well, this is also in 1991 before Google Maps was a thing.
Anyway, she's a local resident. She's got a nice house, nice existence there on the Big Island, and she's just laid back, really laid back, wears flip-flops everywhere. She just wants some margaritas. It's a beautiful night. It's Christmas. She wants to go see the lights, the Christmas trees and everything else. That
sounds like a great new Christmas tradition that we should start margaritas on Christmas.
I love a margarita any day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should put it'd be kind of cool if you had like a candy cane and put it in it.
Like a peppermint margarita? I don't think Nicole would like that.
I don't know, tequila and peppermint?
She just doesn't do peppermint drinks because of Dr. McGillicuddy's, because of college.
I know, but what do you think? I think that would be a good idea. Peppermint margarita.
I would try it.
I mean, what would you put?
It.
You'd have to get peppermint tequila, which may not even exist.
No, you could just mix peppermint schnapps with regular tequila, make a crushed candy cane rim, and I don't know, maybe some like Sprite to mix in there instead of sour mix. I don't know.
That sounds pretty good, actually. All right. So Anna, she's a few margaritas in. She leaves the restaurant, and on her way back to her house, she looks over and she sees a tennis shoe. It's a brand new white tennis shoe. Now, I've never been on this road, but apparently this road is made of red cinders. So it's like bricks, red cinder road. I don't know. Let me look at it real quick. 1 second. I want to kind of see this. Red.
Lauren says Christmas Mai Tais, which Nicole would much rather.
Oh, yeah. Love me a Mai Tai.
All right, so this is Red Cinder Road. I just typed in that and Hawaii came up.
Is it like dirt? Red dirt?
Yeah, it's like this gravel type of stuff.
Oh, is it lava?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, it might be.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's super
So like
cool.
the whole road, it's like a dirt road, but with these red cinders.
It's kind of like, looks like the type of rock that's in our driveway, but red.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Okay, cool.
That's crazy. Yeah, it probably is lava.
They look like the rocks that you walk across when they do hot coals.
Little Tony Robbins action.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
She sees this white sneaker, and now she sees this stuff all the time. She sees, because, beachgoers come down here. The surf is amazing down here. You come down here, the big surfers, Jack Johnson surfs down there. He's a professional surfer.
I did not know he was professional.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what professional means. I guess as long as you compete, you make money.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but he was a professional surfer. Anyway, surfers go down there because the waves are so big and, you can do drugs, which everyone in Hawaii does drugs. We do know that. She leaves the restaurant. She spots this brand new tennis shoe and it looks like it's her size. So she gets out of her van. She walks over to look at the shoe. She's looking around because this is great. Someone lost their shoe. I've gotten flip-flops before. I've gotten all kinds of cool stuff, necklaces, all this stuff. But usually I get both shoes and now I only see one white shoe. So she goes around and she's trying to spot the other one because they're her size. And wow, what a find, right? As she gets closer to the bush area where it's heavily grown over, she sees more than just a shoe. Can you read from the Honolulu Star Bulletin?
From the Honolulu Star Bulletin, June 1999, Anna remembers seeing a sneaker and thinking, wow, it's a brand new tennis shoe. Well, it's just my size too, and I'll check it out to see if I can find the other one. But something looked weird. I had seen these bushes messed up on the other side of the road there.
Did she find a foot in the other shoe?
I know. Is this what was it called? The shoes that kept popping up?
Oh, yeah. But, when I think of lost shoes, I think of the fact that they have the shoes on the wires to signify, like, drug deals.
What?
Like when you...
No, that is
you never
not
heard that?
No, what?
You
talking about when people throw their shoes over the electrical wires?
Yeah.
That's not a drug deal thing, is it? That's just like kids throwing shoes over there.
I wouldn't know.
I've never heard that could be a drug dealer thing.
I don't know. I feel like somebody can confirm that. Has anyone ever participated in a drug deal?
But when I worked at a car wash, there was a car there that was doing drug deals, and I got really scared because I was a teenager, so I went to the police.
So you snitched?
Well, I was a teenager. I was scared. I wasn't as cultured as I am today.
All right, Anna's looking for this shoe, the other shoe, and she doesn't see it right away, but she spots a mountain bike. And this mountain bike doesn't look like it was just wrecked. It looks like it was hit. It is completely mangled. If you're riding a bike and you crash into a tree or whatever, your wheel may be sideways a little bit, but this thing, the frame was all bented up. On the mountain bike, she spotted strands of blonde hair caked in blood. There was a broken watch, tire tracks, both bicycle and car tire tracks.
Oh, wow.
There was no other white shoe that she could find. She phones 911. She's not in Wahawa right now. She's in Paeahoa, all right? Wahawa is the one that doesn't have electricity or phones.
Okay.
But I said that this story takes place in two different counties. They border each other, but it's a big difference. One has electricity, the other one doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Witnesses notice the tracks. Now, there's not a lot of people that come by. This is on the edge on that one road. And if you're not a resident down there, or if you're not visiting down there, which you're probably not visiting unless you have family that live down there, because it's Christmas, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is there's not a lot of traffic that goes down there. Anyway, the people that did go down there noticed the two separate types of tracks. They remembered the tire tracks, which seemed like they crossed over almost really quickly, like swerved over, and then they see the bicycle tracks, which made that impression that a bicycle makes, right? They noticed this over those red cinders.
Then I saw the bicycle. It was just smashed. It took me all of a minute to figure out it was a bicycle. I thought it was just a hunk of junk someone threw out with the trash.
So she's like shocked. She went to find this other shoe. She sees blood, hair, broken wristwatch. There's obviously been an accident. Because what is it? It's a car hit a bike. That's what we're looking at. Mm-hmm. You got the tire tracks. You got a swerve. You got a crushed up bicycle. You got blood. You got broken jewelry. And you got one shoe. One shoe. So where is the other shoe? Well, she's going to spend the next hour trying to find the other shoe and the person who's wearing it, because obviously that shoe is being worn by someone. At the same time, 5 miles away, we're going to Ida Smith. So this is happening at the same time, but now we're crossing into Wahawa 5 miles away on that government road. Ida Smith is also a resident. She hears a faint cry. She is at home. She's actually waiting for her husband to get home. And because he's at work, he's a contractor, so he's even working on Christmas Eve. She looks at the clock. It says 4:45. She hears a faint cry across the street on Government Beach Road from a grove of... How do you say this word? Pandanus.
What?
Pandanus trees. Is that right? Pandanus? I almost said pandanus trees. What's a pandanus tree, Lauren? She hears a faint cry coming from this grove of pandanus trees across the street from her Wahawa home. It sounds really faint. It sounds like a little girl crying. It sounds like maybe this person is saying, help me, but it was so faint, so girlish, and it seemed to be fading away, getting softer and softer. But she couldn't let that go. She was hearing something. It wasn't the wind. It was someone. She doesn't know if they're crying for help or not because she really couldn't distinguish those words coming out, but she kept following that across the street from her home into these pandanus trees, into this grove, this faint girly voice. It sounded desperate. Help me. That's what the voice said.
You know what I heard? That if you're in trouble, you shouldn't yell, help me.
You should yell
because
fire?
People won't either fire or, why are you doing this to me?
Huh? Really?
Yeah, I saw that on Hacks. Great
On
show,
what?
by the way.
You saw it on what?
Hacks.
Is that a show?
Yeah, it's a show on HBO.
Oh.
All right, I
don't know if y'all like it. I'm not recommending it, not because it's not a good show. I liked it. I just don't know if you guys would like it.
Here's the pandanus trees. This is Anna Sherrill. I went down there and found her. I was in shock. I couldn't believe someone could do that to another human being. That's what she says. All right. So, I mean, what do we got here? There's obviously been an accident.
Something.
But,
yeah.
But why is she 5 miles away? There's no way that this girl had walked 5 miles and, ended up in the grove. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Was she like thrown out of someone's car?
That's a good.
Did someone hit her on the bicycle and then abduct her, and then she was like thrown out?
Can you read from Anna's interview with the Honolulu Star Bulletin?
It sounded like a little girl's voice. It stopped for a little bit, then I heard it again, Smith said. Help me. I started to call back. I'm coming. Don't worry, I'm coming.
She says, I could not believe somebody could do that to another human being. Can you read the next one?
It looked like someone just picked her up and threw her there. It was so uncaring, so vicious.
All right, something's not right here. Obviously, this woman has been in an accident. She is mangled. Now, keep in mind, this is from Ida Smith's point of view. Okay, Ida Smith is 5 miles away, and so she is not seeing the bicycle. She's not seeing that other shoe. She's not seeing all this stuff. All she is seeing is this girl, this teenager girl, who is desperately crying for help wearing one shoe. But she knows something's not right just by seeing her on the first glance. This woman was bleeding. She was obviously struck by a car. That's obvious. She had gashes. One huge gash on her head was so deep that you could see her skull inside the wound.
Wow. Oh boy.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah, it's bad.
So you could see that,
like that.
grayish bone right there through her skull. It was just out open. Her hair was so bloody, and this is a blonde girl. You'll hear the nurse that helps. She couldn't even tell if this was a blonde girl or a redhead. It looked like someone. Do you know when you take a mop and you like twist it? You know what I'm saying? And get all that water out.
Yeah.
That's how the blood stuck to her hair. It completely colored it maroon, crimson red. And it was so drenched in this blood, so drenched that the flies, the Hawaii flies, were just feasting on it. So she has all these bugs and all these flies just eating this blood on her head, right? This is what she would say in this interview. This trauma was so bad that those little pebbles, those cinders, some of them were embedded into her skin. So she got hit. It looks like she got hit. Let's say she got hit on a bicycle. The car had hit her with so much force that she had got pushed down into the road with such velocity that the cinders actually embedded into her skin. That's how hard she was hit, you know?
God.
But like I said, something's not right here. It doesn't look like she was just a victim of an accident, because it seems like her denim shorts were pulled down past her ankles and her shirt was pulled above her shoulders. Okay, usually, that probably doesn't happen. Yeah, the shoe thing makes sense, but it doesn't take Ida very long to realize that she was not only hit by a car, she was also violently raped. So whoever hit her also raped her. She was in and out of consciousness, incoherent. She could not remember who did this to her. It was a man. That's all she could remember. Ida ran home. She got a quilt. Now, if you read the whole interview, this girl that we're talking about tonight who got hit, she did not want Ida to leave her side at all, because she was dying, and she's been there for God knows how long already. She doesn't want to be left alone again, but she has to go home to call the police and to get a quilt. Number one, to cover this girl up. The girl actually asked to pull her denim shorts off of her because they were so uncomfortable, making it so much more uncomfortable for her. So Ida gets down and prays with this girl. They pray together. And then she goes and she gets a quilt. Now, I said this is in Wahawa. No electricity, no phone service. The only way to get help, Ida knows the only way to get help is to wave down a passing car, because this is in the county with no electricity and no phone.
Yeah.
Anna Cheryl, going back to the shoe, trying to find the shoe, they have electricity, they have phone. But in Wahawa, they do not. So the only way this woman is going to survive this is if a passing car comes by.
Now, do we know if maybe she was raped first and then like intentionally run over to make it seem like it was not a rape, or am I thinking too much about that?
An hour later, an hour goes by, a car drives up. Ida wasn't going to let this single car pass, though. She made sure it stopped and told them to go call 911 right now. At this point, it is 5:47. You remember I said that Ida heard this faint cry. She looked at her clock, which the timing is really important in this case. She looked at that clock and it said 4:45 p.m. She's waiting for her husband to get off work. 4:45 p.m. So a car drives up at 5:47 p.m. An hour has already gone by. She has been bleeding out for an hour already. All right. This case is a lot about the police not being equipped or able to handle something like this. And we see this all the time.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is the first time something like this has happened. They don't have phone. They don't have electricity. They don't have an ambulance service. They don't have CSI labs. They don't have detectives. They don't have homicide detectives. They don't have shit. Right.
Yep.
All right. Finally, a nurse, Geri, Geri Gallagher, shows up. She's riding by and she gets out and she takes over. She's going to use her skills as a nurse to try to save this girl.
The young woman had been raped and battered. Her hair so blood-soaked, Gallagher wasn't sure if its natural color was blonde or red.
2 hours would pass before an ambulance arrived. 34 minutes due to the bad response time of
being
what
in
I
a
told you.
remote
Yeah.
area. Yeah. She says, I've had nightmares about it. None of us knew that it was going to take so long. It took an indescribably long time to get help down to her.
Yeah. All right. So this is a case that has just came up in the news again, and there's some new information. We are talking about the case of Dana Ireland. I'm pretty sure you remember this photo from our headlines that we do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is her. Now, she's not a Hawaiian native. She's visiting family. Her parents live down there, and her sister lives down there. And she is just visiting for the holidays. This is 1991. Christmas Eve. I think Lauren had posted this case.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as you can you describe her right quick for our podcast audience?
Young, blonde,
Late teens, early 20s.
yeah, long hair,
Blonde hair, yeah.
yeah.
She's a fitness buff. I guess you would call it fitness buff. She's there riding her bike, right? 23 years old. She's staying with her sister in Kapoho. She just graduated from the college in Virginia. Let's talk about her bike ride. She is in vacation land. That's what the town's called. Vacation land. She is in vacation land in Kapoho. That's where her parents were staying for the holidays. She goes and visits a friend. She visits a friend about 45 minutes away. She departs from visiting that friend at 4:10 p.m. Now, I said her faint cries are going to be at 4:45 p.m. Okay, that's when Ida Smith hears them. She takes the scenic route, 137, nicknamed Red Road because of the pavement and red cinders. She rolls by the Apahako Congregational Church. There's beautiful mango and coconut plants that just envelop this whole road. We saw the road on Google Earth. You can't even see the road at some spots because it's covered. It is covered with these mango trees. It must be really beautiful down there. They're hanging high above her head. She is loving it. The sunshine's coming in. Yeah, it's the night before Christmas, but it's still really nice and cool out there because it's in Hawaii. The waves are crashing in those Hawaiian tide pools about 100 feet from her. She is half the way home when she arrives at Isaac Hale Beach Park, a beautiful location next to the ocean. Police are going to see that there are bike tire tracks that circle around this park. Apparently, Dana really admired the view, and she kept circling the view because it was so serene. Have you ever been there, Lauren, at Isaac Hale Beach Park? It's also a really popular surf spot. There's a small little surf spot that the waves are real nice. It's called the Shacks, and that's where all the teenage boys hang out. A few handsome men were there. There were one group of guys that she rode by. There was this purple VW Beetle. She rides by. There's 3 guys hanging out. They're surfers, and one of the young men, he whistles at her. Cat calls a little bit. She kind of brushes it off. She's better than that. She's just trying to see the scenery. After the Shacks, that surf spot, she passes a warm springs in Kapoho, turns right on Kapoho Kai Drive. She is now a half a mile away from her parents' home. Mm-hmm. So what do you think happened here? Obviously, this was 5 miles away. The tracks show that someone has swerved and intentionally hit her, and then must have thrown her into a car of some sort, driven her 5 miles, violently raped her, and then threw her in the bush. That's what we're looking at here. Unfortunately, Dana Ireland, 23 years old, was put to her final resting place on December 28th, 1991. She didn't survive this incident. The lack of response time and the lack of equipment and medicines needed to save her life cost her life. And now things are different because they learned from this stuff, right? But Ida Smith was certain that this girl would pull through. Certain. There was other people that stopped. I talked to this nurse, Jerry Gallagher. She was certain that when she put this girl into the ambulance, she would survive. Unfortunately, she did not. She bled out. She died. That was her cause of death, was she bled out and she suffered severe vaginal trauma.
Oh, boy.
So Dana Ireland was put to rest on December 28th, 1991. Let's talk about those men that she rode her bike by. There's not a lot of people on this island. There's only a handful of surfers. They're by this really recognizable purple VW. Mm-hmm. And if you're a detective, or they don't have detectives, if you're a cop, one of the two cops, and people are demanding justice, you need to interview everyone who was around that location, including all the residents, because most likely it wasn't a tourist, right? Because there's no one that comes down this far. It's most likely someone who knows this space and intentionally drove across that county line where they knew there would be no help, no electricity, or no phone. Someone did this on purpose, it seems like. But you have a lot of pressure on you. Hawaii, the public, they're demanding justice for this poor girl, right?
Yeah.
And the family would end up suing the county because of their lack of response, right? Let's talk about suspects. There were quite a few people arrested in this case. One man, Frank...
Really?
Huh? What?
I said, really?
Yeah. One man, Frank Pauling Jr., eventually confesses.
Oh.
Now, here's the thing. It would be over 2 years before anyone is put in prison for this.
Okay.
It would be until 1999 until someone is convicted for it.
Wow.
That is almost a decade later. There's some things you got to keep in mind. And I didn't realize this mattered with a murder, but there's statute of limitations.
Not on murder.
Not on murder, but with sexual assault and kidnapping, okay? Those things you can't try for. I thought you could because it's all included, but apparently that's what the
Interesting.
The law enforcement were worried about, right?
Well, I mean, what if you can still, if they've already brought charges within the statute of limitation, I think that's what matters, because a case can take much longer. Like to go through the court process.
You're right. You're so right. You're right, but I haven't given you all the information.
Okay.
One man, Frank Pauling Jr., eventually confesses. He has been in and out of prison already for minor stuff, robbery, assault, this, that, and the other. He says, you know what? I do have information. I was there. I didn't rape this girl, but I was with the two guys that did. These two guys were brothers, and they picked me up that morning driving a purple VW. It was the Surfers. Purple VW Buck. They picked me up. These two, Albert N. and Sean Schweitzer. Two brothers. Sean being the youngest, 16 years old. The oldest, Albert, 27. So two brothers hit this girl intentionally with their car, put her in the backseat, and then both raped her. That's what the confession is. There was rape evidence. Okay, there was a bite mark on the top of her left breast, semen in the vagina, rectal, and cervical. The cause of death, as I said, she bled to death in vaginal trauma. Frank Pauling Jr., prosecutors dubbed as the, quote, walking crime wave.
Quite the nickname.
Yeah, he told police that these two brothers picked him up. They went out, did some drugs, cocaine especially. In fact, this guy, the walking crime wave, has done so much crime while high, he usually doesn't remember the crimes he does.
Oh, interesting.
But he says that these two brothers not only raped her, but they also hit her on the head with a tire iron, which explains that huge gash in her skull.
Yep.
But 2 years later, after he confesses to this, he recants it. Okay?
Okay.
Keep that in mind. This guy lived a few miles from the scene, as well as the brothers. He was arrested in 1993, 2 years later, and sentenced to 10 years in prison for sexual assault, robbery, and criminal trespass on another case.
Totally unrelated.
Totally unrelated.
Wow.
Drug problem, always stoned, couldn't remember crimes.
The trio stopped to smoke cocaine before they saw a woman standing on the side of the road. The driver accelerated, hit the woman, then stopped, got out, put her in the trunk. They drove to a place with a lot of junk cars, raped her, and hit her with a tire iron.
All right, if you don't mind, can you read that full confession? It's not very long, but let me show you this guy, Frank Pauling Jr., okay, because he's really important in this case. Let me tell you what's going on right now. These two brothers are saying, I didn't do it. We weren't even there, okay? We weren't even there. I was at my uncle's house, and our VW Bug wasn't even working. We were not there. We know this guy, Frank Pauling Jr., but we have bad bad family blood with this guy, and he is lying. He is saying that we did this and we did not. Now, keep in mind, the police are under immense pressure to put someone in prison. They've already put several several people in prison. And in fact, as you'll see, the police, they nearly arrested the 2 females who tried to damn save her.
Jesus.
The nurse, Jerry, was questioned for multiple days for hours at a time.
That's crazy.
Also, the other woman, Ida Smith, also questioned and
They were
interrogated.
just trying to help.
Interrogated. Well, think about it. You have a very small police force in Wahawa, but the whole big island of Hawaii is desperate to find out who killed this sweet 23-year-old girl that's not even from here. Not only killed her, but violently raped her, left his semen all over the place. They were trying to arrest the women.
Yeah, that's actually even crazier when you think about it. Like, it clearly was not a female. Like, right?
No, yeah, you are 100% right.
Do you want me to read this?
Yeah, it's
right
not
now?
very long.
Okay. Pauline said he was with Albert, Ian, and Sean Schweitzer in a Volkswagen Beetle. We came out by an intersection going towards Kapoho, and that's where we saw a girl standing up. As we were going past, my friend Ian looked up towards the side and said, "Oh, look at that girl." Then we continued to go forward down the road. Pauline said that they turned around because Ian wanted to talk to the woman. Then we headed back and he was going faster, and I was telling him to slow down, about 40 to 45 miles per hour, because I looked at the speedometer. I knew I felt like going over a speed bump real fast. How many times we went over? I would say roughly 2 times, going forward and reversing. He said they stopped and the Schweitzers got out and loaded the woman into the trunk located in front of the vehicle. They started driving again, but then stopped several times after that, once in an area with a lot of junk cars. Then we carried the body out. We laid down while she was still alive. She never say nothing, never really acted like she had been hurt.
Hold on a second. So Nicole's reading it verbatim as it is. He's saying stuff like never. Like, I guess it's that Hawaiian slang. It's actually really hard to read. She's doing a really good job.
Then Ian Schweitzer ended up having sex with her. It lasted for a short while, maybe like a couple of seconds, 4 or 5 seconds. Pauline said he refused to have sex with the woman. Told him I never liked that. And at the same time, when he was having sex, I was just kind of enjoying watching, I guess because of the drugs. Pauline said that she had blood coming out of her eyes, her mouth, and her nose. He said at Ian's urging, he found a tire iron and struck the woman to make sure I killed her. So I went swing all the way back and I went hit her on the head. Then I dropped the bar and went towards the bug on the driver's side. I remained outside it. I was feeling sick and told Ian I cannot do this, so he went back to her, and I guess he went and do him. Pauline said that the brothers returned to the car, closed the trunk, and the 3 men drove away. We headed towards the Hawaiian beaches through the back roads. Then we made several stops to smoke cocaine again. And as we stopped, Ian Schweitzer kept going back towards the front of the bug to make sure the body was dead, just to check on the body. Pauline said he made the statement of his own free will. He was not coerced or promised anything, and he was not under the influence of drugs or alcohol. He signed the statement at 7:51 a.m.
So that's the confession. So that's what came out. That's the confession. All right. But it would be years before they arrested these brothers. And they let them go once and then rearrested them for the same offense. They just couldn't get it to stick, I guess. Let's talk about the brothers. Albert Ian Schweitzer, 27, his brother Sean, 16. They were really close-knit. They said, quote, "I think we're so close that people are jealous of us." They did everything together. Best friends, surfers. Ian, the older brother, had some traffic offenses and resisting an order to stop and racing his car on the roadway. Sean pleaded no contest earlier to a 4th-degree sexual assault for inappropriately touching a 15-year-old girl. This was before the murder. Mm-hmm. That's bad. Mm-hmm. But is it because Sean, at that time, he was 16?
Oh.
Yeah. He is 16 at the time of this murder. He's the younger brother. He does have a 4th-degree sexual assault for inappropriately touching a 15-year-old.
But he was 16.
So you can't be what I'm saying?
That's like a shame that's even on somebody's record for that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, holy shit. I was like, damn.
I mean, unless it was...
yes and no.
Unless it was unwilling.
Yes and no.
Unless it was like
it
an
must
unwilling.
have been unwilling.
Oh, I was thinking it was a statutory situation.
No, it's inappropriately touching a 15-year-old girl. But as fourth degree sexual assault, I don't even know what that means.
I don't know.
I mean, what does fourth degree even mean?
My head went to it was like just because it was a minor. It could have been.
Oh, yeah.
It could have been
But
consensual.
he's a minor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it all depends on what the age of consent in Hawaii was at the time.
Yeah, but he's 16. He's still underage.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to look at their laws.
But hey, when a girl has been raped and there is hardly no one that lives in this section, and these two brothers both have offenses,
Have a history. Mm-hmm.
and they've been implemented, I mean, that is as good as gold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's as good as gold. But they've been denying it the whole time. They said they weren't even there. They said the car wasn't even working.
Mm-hmm.
They said one of them was at the uncle's house. They weren't even surfing that day. They said this guy is just blaming them because it's bad blood. Not only that, they would never hang out with this guy. They hated this guy.
Well, it's easy to say that, and I'm not blaming any. I'm just saying, like, it's easier if you're in a situation where it's 2 against 1, where you have someone to kind of like back up your alibi versus this one guy who is saying, "Oh yeah, they were there, they were doing this," and especially if there was bad blood, then you're like, no, like you have that other person to back you up.
Yeah. Well, the police got a lot of shit for this because they couldn't put someone in prison. All right. The trial, from the papers I'm reading papers in 1999. That is 9 years after this fact. They ended up putting both the boys in prison right at that 7-year mark to try them for this murder, which happened in 1999 because they needed to hit that statute of limitations or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, if the two brothers did it, murder, only one of them murders. The other one is just
complicit, though.
Guilty in kidnapping and rape. And if those things are statute of limitations are passed, then the one brother goes free. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what they're thinking. But the cops also arrested a lot of people for this. Like pretty much everyone who lived in Wahawa was arrested. 2 of the females, at least, that stopped to render aid were put through lie detector tests after being arrested. They were put through hours of interrogation. One neighbor said, quote, "They would question us for hours and hours. My brother-in-law, they really harassed." Okay? They took his car and they're just going after everybody. They're going after everyone because it's immense pressure. And, this girl died and she was violently raped. Mm-hmm. Nurse Jerry Gallagher, the only person who actually saved the victim. Well, she didn't, save the victim at least to get to the hospital. The only one who actually saved the victim to get to the hospital was questioned on multiple occasions for hours and hours. The cops seemed like they were trying to implement her in the crime, which doesn't make sense. There's semen everywhere.
No, it makes no sense.
But I guess that's how you do it in Hawaii. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's look at this right quick. Pauline is saying the 2 brothers raped this girl. It was Sean's van, the 16-year-old. Police took the van. All right, let's take this van because there's going to be all kinds of shit in this van. They were raping her and they hit this woman and then put her bloody, mangled body in this car. There's going to be blood everywhere, Now, granted, this is months later because they couldn't get their shit together, but there should be blood everywhere. No blood, no hair in the van. All right, a little harder. In the purple VW Bug. The front, what would the front look like?
It should have a whole lot of blood on it if they hit her with her bike.
Blood, and it should be
or a dent.
Yeah.
Dented as hell, even though it's a VW, which can pretty much withstand the apocalypse.
Unlike a cyber truck.
Nothing. It wasn't even dented or dinged. It was rusted, but it was not even scratched.
Okay, probably unlikely then.
It's a little weird. All right. Now,
well, how long after were they inspecting the vehicle?
Couple months.
Now, you got to remember, Sean, the youngest brother, implemented in this is 16. So if he didn't do it, let's say if he didn't do it, well, I'll say right now what he said. He ends up going to prison, but what he says is he couldn't keep a job. He's afraid to go out of his house. He walks down the street and he sees, quote, "wanted dead" posters up with his face on it.
Oh, gosh.
He
That's intense.
says this is a misunderstanding because this guy hates our family. And he is he's a walking crime wave. He's a drug dealer, and he just wanted us to go down.
Interesting.
There's also an incentive for Pauline Jr. I'm not going to go into this, but apparently when Pauline Jr. was sent to prison, he was being raped by one or multiple guards.
Oof.
He was...
Hold on one second. Hi, Martin. Sorry. I missed your message and it popped up on my screen. I'm acknowledging you. Hello.
He says that he's been sexually assaulted and raped by several guards. He recanted this confession that you read. The reason? He said he only confessed so he can get in the spotlight to tell people that he's being raped by these guards in prison. He's in prison for other things, right?
He's an upstanding citizen. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the bite marks. In 1994, Dr. Norman Sperber, a San Diego forensic teeth specialist, said Albert Ian Schweitzer could be, quote, ruled out as causing the bite marks seen on the victim.
Okay.
But court documents filed in 1998 say that Sperber changed his mind in reviewing the evidence from the prosecutors and says that his teeth were, quote, consistent with the bite mark. You just must be a shitty fucking guy.
They should probably get another opinion.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got the DNA. We got fucking sperm everywhere. All right. And it takes a while to, run tests on this shit. In 1991, the DNA tests weren't really that great. But we do know that the sperm sent to the lab does not match either the two Schweitzer brothers, neither of them, nor does it match the guy who confessed and said it was the two brothers.
What?
So now we have...
All right, it's none of them.
Now we have the car that has no blood, no hair, no evidence anywhere. The two brothers said the car wasn't even running on that day. One of them was at his uncle's house. So they say, and this is false, you have teeth mark prints that don't match any of them, but then, the guy changes his mind. And the fucking thing, the biggest thing, the semen DNA doesn't match either three of the guys implemented in this crime. Also, you have the police arresting the females.
That's a mess.
It's a damn mess. It's a really bad mess. But someone's got to go to prison.
Hopefully the right person.
Exactly. All right, let's end this up. Let me tell you the reason we're doing this case right now, okay? And this case is pretty large, but this is from 7 hours ago. Both the brothers were implemented. They served time. They didn't do it. In fact, the Innocent Project, which is, the Stephen Avery organization.
Well, it's not his, but they've helped him.
No, I know, but that's what everyone thinks about. The Innocent Project, the Hawaii branch, took on this case. And last year, in January, I believe, one of the brothers was let out of prison. Okay, hold on.
That took a really long time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, can I just say I thought this case was over because a few days ago, they retested the DNA. And if you look it up right here, the DNA that was tested matched to someone unrelated to what we talked about today.
Wow.
That man, once his DNA matched, killed himself a few days ago.
Oh, wow.
So that is where we're at now with the case. Let me pull up a little article about that. This is from People. Hawaii man submitted DNA sample that linked him to a woman's 1991 murder. Then he died by suicide. Completely different guy. This is Albert Laura Jr. He was also a resident, and he was a suspect at one point, but it passed.
But did this guy, was another one of those 23andMe type situations, or they asked him to submit his DNA for this case specifically? Or we'll find out in the video, I guess.
Yeah.
So they asked him to submit a sample after he was re-interviewed.
Yeah. You know what's weird? Reading this paper, the Honolulu Star Bulletin did a huge 5-part series on this. So, Monday they had part 1, the crime, then the investigation, and that's what I used for this episode. But reading back there now, I got all those details that the semen didn't match and all this stuff. It seemed like
they knew that then.
It was obvious that these brothers didn't do it,
and it was obvious 20 years ago.
But that was 1999.
Yeah.
Of the research I've done this. That's
crazy.
That is 24 years ago.
That's true.
They've been in prison almost 3 decades. decades for something they didn't do.
And it was clear then. It's not like this is like some aha. Having it test positive for another individual is the aha, but they knew that this
so
didn't
obvious.
match.
If you read the paper, it's so obvious. Even the papers, like they did their own investigation. The timeline did not match from his confession at all. Nothing matched. They had alibis. The semen didn't match. Nothing. There was no...
I don't know how they could have gotten a conviction. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
Because when something like this happens,
somebody's got to go to prison.
Someone's got to go to prison. And who better to go to prison than, a 16-year-old who already has a sexual misconduct charge, and his brother who has also been arrested on multiple charges, and you have a confession, even though that confession was recanted 2 years later. Oh yeah, this is an hour ago. Some of the comments, I smell a lawsuit coming. Oh my God. They're going to get sued out the fucking ass.
Yeah. Wow, that was nuts. So the man who most likely committed the crime died by suicide just days ago.
They said his DNA matched.
Yes, yeah. I know. And I'm saying
he did it. His semen matched.
Uh-huh.
So he's the one that did it.
Uh-huh.
Now, I want to say, I didn't know this was that big of a case. I did quite a bit of research, probably like 8 hours of research on it. I could have done a lot more, but, let's just see how this plays out. I want to follow it, see if the brothers get out. This is an Innocence Project one. I don't think we've done one of those before.
I don't think so.
But holy shit, I mean, I'm definitely a believer.
They should get out any day.
I'm definitely a believer. And they're going to be... So Hilo PD is the one who handled the case. They're going to be sued pretty heftily because not only one brother, right? You got two. So someone sues for a couple $1 million, you just multiply that shit by two. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jesus Christ. I don't know, man. I mean, I tried to do this case good.
Very thorough. Good job. Thanks, Lauren, for the good headline that turned into a story.
Mm-hmm. It says, using evolved DNA technology, investigators were able to identify 57-year-old Albert Loro Jr., who lived on the Kapoho area at the time of the murder, as a potential suspect in the case. Before police had enough evidence to charge him for Ireland's murder, he was found dead in his home on July 23rd from suicide. October 23rd, this is from civilbeat.org. It says, second man is exonerated in the Dana, Ireland murder case. So
from October?
Yeah, this is from last year, but it says Judge Peter Kubuto cited new DNA evidence in clearing Ian and Sean Schweitzer. The defense presented the evidence at trial that the DNA of Ireland's attacker did not belong to either of the Schweitzer brothers or to Pauline, but Pauline was convicted anyway of murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault in 1999, and Ian Schweitzer was then convicted of the same charges on February 15, 2000. Quote, in almost every other case, if the DNA did not match, you got out of jail. In this case, the DNA did not match, you still went to jail. Oh my God. They are going to get sued out of fucking existence, bro. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit. They have been avid about being innocent since they were arrested in like 1994 or whatever.
Oh.
Through the millennium.
Yep.
And now in 2024, they're finally getting out. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is so fucking nuts, man. Holy shit. This is from 2023. Just over 24 hours ago, Albert Ian Schweitzer was spending the rest of his life in prison for the murder of Dana, Ireland, a crime we now know he did not commit. Albert Ian Schweitzer is now a free man after spending 2 decades behind bars. So
they are out of
prison. They are as of last year. Last year.
Oh, all right.
Thanks for being here, everybody.
And also, like, can you imagine the guy that did this? Like, once they arrested all those people, he's probably like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah, I thought he almost got away with it.
Christ.
You know, he almost did.
All right, that was we're gonna keep up on that case, but it's pretty much. I mean,
I guess now it is really wrapped up.
Yeah, I guess it's now wrapped up. It's nuts, though. Thanks for requesting it. It wasn't, I didn't go full out on it, but
no, I would say so.
I hope you enjoyed it either way. And we'll be back tomorrow for more headlines and possibly another story. I'm gonna try like a very small one, but yeah. So anyway, catch us tomorrow, and yeah. And until next time, good night, you lovely, lovely people, and mahalo.
Kind of running this shit.